Right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, here we have a JCB 3C Mark II 1972 dashboard. As you can see, it's been butchered quite badly. These bits I did because I knew I was replacing, so I just cut them bits out. That's these bits here because I'm going to use these. I didn't want them to break trying to get the nuts off, so I'm going to use these for the other dashboard, and I'll show you in a minute. Now, you can make repairs to things like this by basically putting plastic, example, plastic like that, inside, gluing it up, and then filling it across, So it can be done. No one can say it can't. This dash is obviously, in a bit of a mess, as you can see. Someone really has butchered it, but that's just the way it is. So I've sourced this one off of someone that was breaking a JCB. Yep, I know it's a shame it's been broken, but it's one of them things. So I sourced this dashboard, giving it a good clean down, which is important with a nice Brillo pad. And basically I'm going to use parts of the old dash to make the new dash good. So here, if you look very carefully, there are some cracks. Got one crack here, there's a few cracks, crack there, and obviously these bits that are missing. So the plan is to get it the right way around, glue that in there like that underneath to add some strength, and then what we'll do is we'll basically glue all this down, seal it all up, and fill this all up, and it look nice. So we'll make a nice repair. This one looks a bit of a pig because the actual plastic's a little bit bent, so it's going to need to be heated up and straightened out slightly. Be very careful because it's quite brittle, this particular one. So it does still need a few little repairs at the sides as well. Cracks, the sides here, cracks. So it needs some repairs, but like I say, you can either use a bit of plastic like this inside to strengthen it up, or you can use the old dashboard. I'm going to use the old dashboard. Probably use the old dashboard. I might change my mind, but we'll see. No, I'll use the old dashboard because this one's quite strong, quite flexible. So yeah, I'll probably use that. We'll see how it goes. We'll decide. So that's the plan. And then once it's all done and filled, and I'll show you step by step, but once it's all filled and done, you then spray the whole dashboard a nice dark black or a grey or a dark grey, entirely up to you. You spray a dashboard any colour you want. It's your JCB, it's your tractor, it's your car. You do what you want. Don't let anyone else tell you different. But I'm going to go with a dark grey on this because obviously that one looks like black. This one looks like grey. So, okay. But that's the plan. So we'll go from there. So obviously the first thing is to give it a good clean down, which I've done. And now it's preparing it for gluing the cracks. Right, so basically I'm just going to use an Awadite. That's just a strong resin. Mix the two together on here nicely with a little stick. We apply it nicely all over this section that I've cut off the old dash. Make sure you clean this as well. And then obviously apply it around here and especially in the crack as well. And then we just place that down on there and hold it nice and tight. Right, so that's glued all nicely on there. A little bit on there where the crack is, follow the crack, place that down nicely, and then what we do is we'll put a bit of weight on this just to hold it. It's going to take some time, but if you want things done properly, unfortunately they're going to take a little bit of time. Just roll it over, check it to make sure the gap's sealing up nicely. If it ain't, put a little bit of tape on it. Don't worry about if the tape sticks to the glue, don't worry about that because we'll clean that up. It's always a good idea to wipe this down with a little bit of thinners both sides because it basically kind of makes the plastic a little bit kind of soft, but it'll also make it stick very well. Just to show you, for this one here, this crack here, there's a crack goes down there and it comes around here a little bit. Still wet here, I need to dry this. I've cut this out, so this basically just goes over it like that around there. And I'll do the same for that side there. This is all gluing nicely, so that's all good. You may need to heat some of the plastic up to get some shape out of it, but that depends on the day you're doing it. If you're doing this in the cold, my advice is make sure it's a nice warm shed, because plastic don't really, you know, mould and move around and operate, and it can be quite more brittle in the winter, so you want it to be quite warm. It's a lovely warm day today, so that's why I'm doing it outside. Right, so as you can see, I've had to bring it inside. Typical, oh, I've got hiccups. Typical British weather. It started to rain. Lovely and sunny, and then it started to rain. So basically, I brought it inside, and as you can see, I've cut that out. That's been glued in. So what I've done is, I've had to glue it like that, basically. Yeah, can you see it? So that's all been glued in. So all the little bits have been glued. We've glued these patches, these sides in. That one's been good. This one was quite badly done, so I've had to cut, make a bit and put that in there. So that's all going to be filled. All these little gaps, it'll all be filled. So not to worry about that. So that's all good. So it's all been sealed. What I did was, obviously I used Aradite, but I cheated. I used a bit of super glue just to hold it in place. So just to hold certain bits in place, and then I Aradited the whole thing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mix up some filler, and we're going to fill basically all these bits in. These little cracks are going to have a little one bit of filler on them, even though you can't feel nothing, so it's all pretty good. There's a little bit of something going on here, but that's going to have to be all filled and then sanded down. And then we'll have to try and work to try and get this pattern. But not a problem. We can sort this out. It's looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with the outcome. You know, look at that. It looks really good, doesn't it? It's a good little bit of cutting out and filling. So it's all that's smooth there. Nothing there. That's good. So it's all good. It's all good. So let's mix up some filler. So I'm going to use a plastic filler, and then we're going to apply it just like you would apply any other filler. You add the hardener, and then just mix it up, and yeah, pull it in the gaps and go from there. So that's the plan. So it's slowly really starting to look quite cool. So basically, there you are. So it's coming along. It's looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. Considering the state of it, you know, this was all beat up, so it's all looking quite good. So yeah, that's good. So, and obviously I've got all the little bits here which I used. So I used the old dash. So there we are. So let's mix up the filler. Let's go. After applying the filler with some leftover filler, I've basically reinforced the screw holes with some washers, and I just used the leftover filler just to hold the washers in place. I did put a little bit of super glue on the washer just to hold it there while I basically put the filler around it. The filler goes off like a really sort of like a plastic. It's not like your ordinary car filler. It's pretty cool actually. I'll show you. This is the stuff here. It comes in little sachets. I do have a big pot of filler, but for plastic bumpers and things, but I thought I would use this stuff. Well, this is plastic bumper as well actually. I just realised that. But I thought I'll use this one little sachet. I've got a couple of these anyway, but I've also got a massive big pot for plastic bumper. But one of these little sachets did the job, so it's looking pretty cool. So I'm quite happy with that. So far, so good. So basically, obviously I've just given it one little bit of filler, as you can see. Look at that. Already, it's looking like a dashboard, you know, not on a broken old cracked up thing that it was. So I'm quite happy with that. It's pretty cool. So it's looking nice. As you can see, the washers are in there, which will hold the strength and stop that from splitting in the future. But yeah, it's looking good, you know. There's that repair down there. So we're getting there. We're getting there, and I'm happy with the way it's come. You know, I'm gonna have to sand it down, and like every you know, every bit of filler, you're gonna have to refill it again because there's gonna be little bits and pieces. So what I'll do is I'll sand this down, I'll refill it, and then I'll do another video showing you the outcome of it before we paint it. But you know, it's a nice little simple little job to do. Anyone can do it. You just gotta have the time and tackle it. And if you don't use the old bit of plastic, like I say, you can buy plastic, brand new stuff. I think I've got a little bit here actually, even one of these. You know, you can buy the brand new plastic. It's not a problem. So it doesn't really matter. But like I say, using the plastic filler, it looks really good. So I'll show you the outcome on the next video. Right, okay, so the filler has dried, as you see previously. Now it's all been sanded down, and I've given it a good sand down. You cannot, would you believe, you cannot feel anything. It is absolutely perfect. Here, even here, it might look like it might look it there, but it's not. Trust me, it's really smooth. It's beautiful. Again here, perfect, absolutely beautiful. Not a bump, not a line, nothing. Absolutely beautiful. Again, beautiful. And this was a bit of a funny crack because it was like a triangle sort of crack which you could push down into it. So that's all beautifully and done. So it's all nice. The end looks really nice as well. Look at that repair. And then this was a really bad bit that was missing. That was missing completely. I might have to drill just a little bit out there, but well, yeah, I will drill it out a little bit, even though a washer goes over that and you won't see it. But anyway, look at that. That whole corner has been reinforced. Absolutely perfect. And again, that's why I used them. And what I've done is I've just given the whole thing a very light rub down with 1200, just to key it all off. And then obviously I've got to clean it all up, so it's got to be all cleaned up. And then it'd be ready for painting. It'd probably be good to give it 3 coats, I would say. So give it its first coat, let it dry, and give it a good second coat. And then basically after that, let it dry, and then another good third coat, and it should be nice and strong of paint. But we'll get to that. I'll probably leave this for today, and I'll continue the video tomorrow. So we'll do the video tomorrow, showing on the painting side of things. So but it's all there, it's all keyed off, it's all cleaned up, it's all done, looking good. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. It's a great little dash now. So yeah, as you can see, the instrument cluster has been just a little cleaned up. I'm now just putting the screws back in that I took out. So I took the screws out and I give them a little clean. So I'm putting them all back. I put some grease in the little holes, and just basically now screwing it all back just to give it a little clean up. You don't really see this because the dashboard kind of covers this, which is a shame because it's quite a nice looking piece. But anyway, you know, it's all cleaned up and it's done, so it looks nice. So at least that's another job done. So we're getting there, we're slowly getting there. Right guys, as you can see, it has now been done. There you are, you can see. Look at that, perfect, lovely. It's come out really nice. I'm really happy with it. The repairs are just absolutely outstanding. Look at that, absolutely brilliant. The dashboard is really good. This bit in here, you don't see this because obviously them little cracks, there's no point repairing them because, you know, the metal plate goes in there, so you don't see that. But as you can see, it just absolutely all looks absolutely beautiful. So I'm quite happy with the way, and once that all goes in there as well, yeah, I'm really happy with it. However, it's black, and I did say to you I was going to paint it dark grey. So I'll let you into a little story. Basically, we have a little system in here. So as and when paint runs out, or Kansas paint, tins of paint, anything, when it runs out, what you do is you write it in the little book, the code and the name of the product and what the product is, and then at the end of the week I will order whatever needs to be ordered. Somebody put the Halfords tin of paint on the shelf empty. They didn't fill in the book, they just put it back on the shelf empty. So basically I picked it up, come to spray this, because obviously I will use some Halfords products. We'll order it online, gets delivered here, you know, blah blah blah. Some of their products are pretty good. You know, I'm not saying everything I use is Halfords, but you know, it's just nice to show people that you can use some Halfords products, because some of it is pretty good. Not, you know, I wouldn't recommend their actual spray paints, like their actual colour code paints. I wouldn't recommend them for anything. Personally, go to a proper paint supplier. But you know, for little bits of, you know, like flexible vinyl paint, it's perfect. Anyway, so it has run out, so I decided, you know what, I'll drive to my nearest Halfords and just pick one up. So it's 8 miles away, so I drove to my nearest Halfords to pick one up, and I should have checked really, see if they had it in stock, but they didn't. I kind of assumed they would have. So then I got them to check another store, which was down in Portsmouth, so it was another 8 miles from where I was. So I drove down into Portsmouth store, picked up a tin of paint, beautiful, so happy, got home. That's the colour of it, dark grey. Got home, shook it up, shook the can, on I went, sprayed it, and would you believe it? That's the colour. It was a light brown. Somebody had swapped the lids. Somebody had swapped the lids. And on the can itself, really small, like, you know, I say really small, fairly small, it said dark brown. I couldn't believe it. So basically I was like, oh my God, don't believe it. So what I'd done was I actually sprayed the whole thing, because I'd started now. I sprayed it all with a dark brown, a light brown, just to give it a base coat. Then I thought, right, I've had enough of this. Forget Halfords for now. So I went back into the storeroom and I mixed up, with a tin of paint, I mixed up some plastic bumper paint, and the only one I had was, I didn't have any grey. I could have mixed it with a little bit of white to make it grey, but I thought, you know what, just it's already black, it's already mixed up. All it needs is just a good mix, and then thrown into the spray, and just you know, spray it on with the gun. So that's what I did, and that's why it's now black. And guess what? I actually quite like it in black. So, yeah. So there's the outcome. So nice and shiny. It looks nice. I'm really happy with it. You know, what a beautiful looking, what an absolutely beautiful looking. It's still a little bit wet, not wet, but a little bit tacky here and there. But absolutely brilliant. So I'm really happy with that. So there we are. Now, to see this actually fitted on to the JCB, that's not going to be done just yet. So it's all about getting this video out there, getting you guys to see how you can make repairs to your own dashboards, using some of, you know, Halfords, I guess Halfords paint. But please check the cans. But, you know, it's just to give you an idea that things can be repaired and you can attempt it yourself. This is what this is all about. Just to show you that, you know, you can attempt these things yourself. It's not a problem. So to see this actually in the JCB, we are quite a few videos away for that, because obviously the JCB still needs a lot of work doing to it before this gets fitted back. But there you are. A dashboard has been brought back to life. Right, as you can see, I'm very happy with this. So the outcome on this is really good. There are other methods of actually, you know, repairing plastics. You can stitch it by, you know, you can buy, like, they do like a heat gun, and it basically heats up a little metal staple, and then you can sort of, you know, you push it in and it kind of melts it into the plastic and stitches the plastic together. There are other methods. However, on something like this, that's not something I would use. Maybe a bumper, it's a possibility, stitching a bumper, then yes. But something like a dashboard, it is quite delicate, and you don't really want to be heating up too much stuff, because it's quite thin plastic. So that wouldn't work that way. But like I said, there's lots of different methods you can use to work with plastics. But obviously on dashboards, this is the method that I would go down. But as you can see, it's a great outcome. I'm really happy. Now, there is something else I will show you. This particular cover is for the hydraulics on the back of the JCB. So this cover basically just hides all the hydraulics, makes it look pretty. The levers stick through the top, and it looks all lovely. Originally I think this was yellow by the looks of it. Obviously when I think these particular items are already painted, I think, on the production line, and then obviously it was painted black obviously when the JCB was painted green at the factory for the military, because this JCB was a military JCB, and originally it was painted green from the factory. There was obviously a whole load of them painted green. Anyway, so somewhere along the line it's been painted black, and that's what's happened. Now there are some repairs that need to be done on this. Now this is some little repairs there. As you can see, this is fiberglass. So fiberglass is slightly different. We've got some cracks here, some cracks there, some cracks there, cracks everywhere by the looks of it. But like I say, with fiberglass, it's done completely different. I think fiberglass is easier to work with. Make sure you clean it up. This needs more cleaning. It's not been done properly. So make sure it's all cleaned up nicely. With fiberglass, it's far easier to work with. So, you know, you can mix up a fiberglass resin, which is like a fiberglass filler, which is basically fiberglass. And then you can put some fiberglass patches, so you can cut them up and put the patches in to give it some strength on the inside. And that's probably what I'm going to do here. Clean it all up, give it a good clean up, put the old fiberglass patches in there. And then obviously on here, somewhere like here, we'll just use a fiberglass or just an ordinary filler actually on there, because that looks okay. It's not a hole or anything. So ordinary filler on there. We'll give this a good DA sand down, good flat down, good primer, and it'll look really nice when it's done. So that's the plan for that. But fiberglass, I think, is a little bit easier to work with than plastic, you know. But like I say, when this is done, it'll look really nice. And I'll paint it the same black as what I used with the dash, which was a bumper black, which I've got loads of that. So we'll just do it that colour. Keep it all the same.